Okay, we just had a brief introduction to quadratic functions, what they look like, the equation, and what they look like on a graph, a parabola. Now let's try to actually graph one, and we'll show you how to do that, and we'll be using the vertex we talked about last time too. We'll show you how to find that vertex, and then we'll go from there. So let's graph this equation, y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8, and how do we do that? Well, first, let's notice it opens upward, so A is positive. So there was a is basically positive 1 there because x squared doesn't have any number in front of it. Now here's our formula we need to learn about finding the vertex, that part where it starts turning back around. And the value says negative b over 2a. b is the second numerical term in front of the x. So negative b becomes negative 2. 2a is 2 times the a term in front of the x here. We'll put it here. It's just 1. So 2 times 1. And we simplify that down into negative 1. Okay. So that's our vertex, or that's the x value of the vertex. Okay. So we still need to have a y value that goes with it to get the exact location of our vertex. Well, I'm just going to plug in x at negative 1. So I'll put negative 1 in for this x and this x, and we'll get the y value. The f of x is like the y. So there I'm plugging it in, and then that gives me negative 5. So now I can combine that and get my vertex point has an address of negative 1, negative 5. Okay, so I'm on my graph here. Negative 1, negative 5 is the vertex. And now I just need to know a couple more points to finish drawing it. So we're going to use the x-intercepts. Okay, we've talked before about like the y-intercept and a line. X-intercept, similar. Where does it cross the x-axis? And these are useful and easier to do because when we're at the x-axis, y values must be 0. So I set y equal to 0, and then I can solve and get the corresponding x values to go with that. Okay, so let's set up the equation. This trinomial equal to 0. I just put the y on the right here. I set y equal to 0, with the f of x equal to 0. Now I use reverse FOIL. That's hopefully pretty familiar. I do reverse FOIL. I get x plus 4, x minus 2. I ask what would make either of these binomials equal to 0, and that's either negative 4 here, or x could be positive 2 here. That would make that true. Those are the two x values on the graph where y is 0, where it's crossing the axis. So I had negative 4, 0, and positive 2 with 0. Those two are on the graph. They're part of the parabola, and they will help me draw the parabola. So now I'm ready to draw it, and there's a very close, accurate picture of the parabola for the graph of this quadratic.